Okay, g'day folks. I have a much longer guide for most of these things, but I realize that most people don't have the time or the attention span to watch the whole thing. So this is my much shorter but still pretty long guide on the most important fundamental features and aspects when playing Age of Conan. I hope you find this useful and yeah, strap in because it's going to be as fast as I can possibly make it, but still not super short because there's a lot of things to cover. Okay, so the next topic is how to get around. If you open the map, you're looking for these little yellow icons here. This guy is called Wagoner Manan, and he's a Cimmerian Pathfinder. So he'll take you to various different places connected to this location. And if you open the legend, you can see here that the yellow dot is a travel point, red ones are dungeon entrances, green are just points of interest, like little towns and settlements and so on. And the blue one will take you back to Tortage, which is the sort of level 5 to level 1920 starting area as well. And the smuggler in Tortage will also take you out of Tortage. So this guy here, if we just go and talk to him quickly, there he is, Wagon and Manan, and if we speak to him, he will take me either to Old Tarantia, Field of the Dead, or the Laches Plains. And then if you talk to, like you choose one of these options, basically you can click again and you will just travel straight there. It's quite fast, and to most places, there's no cost. To Kitai, which is one of the expansion areas, you can pay a small cost depending on your level. If you don't want to have to do this kind of mini game slash kind of cinematic cutscene sort of thing where you have to do some stuff if you don't pay, basically. So yeah, that's pretty much it, essentially. Just look for these NPCs, speak to them, and you can travel from zone to zone. There's also, in some maps, if I just very quickly go to Kitai and then to, no, not Kitai, to Stygia and then to Kemi, you can't see, unfortunately, because I'm not actually on the map and this NPC won't show up. But for instance, in this area here, between here and here, there is a local travel point, like a local transport point here, where this guy will ferry you from here to here. You can also just swim and save yourself a little bit of money. But there are these local transport NPCs as well. On top of that, there's also this travel point. It's like a little dot with kind of like an arrow that you'll see also on some maps, but you can't see them if you're not actually in that zone actively. So yeah, that's how to get around. And of course, inside the zones, you run, walk, or use a mount. Okay, speaking of mounts, that's the next topic, how to get a mount. So you can visit a stable master once you've left Tortage, and this is here a stable master, for example, in this Connacht village. Basically, you need to buy riding training, and you can also buy some mounts from these guys, but they are not cheap. Like, neither of these things are cheap. Mounts have different riding requirements from basic, advanced, exotic, mammoth, and bear riding, and so on. You must start with basic training and then move on to advanced. Basically, mount training and mounts also could be purchased from the in-game shop, like the cash items shop and so on. Oh, cool, there's another example of another player's pretty cool looking mount. But it's pretty expensive to purchase them from the item shop. Like, it's really, really expensive. Yeah, there's a lot of different mounts you can purchase here. Like I said, some are very expensive. Like, this is 150 gold, which is a ridiculous amount. Actually, free players can't even purchase any of these 50 gold ones because you can't use more than 10 gold at a time on a free account. So you have to get them out generally kind of another way. Yeah, so that was one of them. They're pretty cool looking. This is my polar bear as well. He looks quite bright in the sun. And yeah, you just talk to a stable master, and you can also get other mounts from completing achievements, raid rewards, special in-game token currency, which you can see here if you click on tokens. Some of these you need to gather for mounts as well, and also from buying some expansions. For instance, from getting the expansion that I got this polar bear, and the nice thing about this polar bear is that you can use him on any character. He's an infinite claim, which is really quite nice. If you look down here, Ice Bear, he's called. You can claim him an infinite amount of times on every character, which is really, really nice as well. I also have the same with the Blue Snow Mammoth, which is quite cool too. The Blue Snow Mammoth is a very slow mount. He's a like siege mount for PvP. and the Ice Bear is somewhat similar as well. Nice thing about the Ice Bear is you can't be knocked off him. You have also 100% resistance to stun, root, and knockback, which is really, really nice as well. So you can never be dismounted, and you also can't be stunned, rooted, or knocked back, which is very, very nice. And if you use his main attack, he sort of reaches up and kind of attacks. And yes, you can also fight on some mounts as well. Some mounts will actually allow you to fight, and they even have abilities as well, which is pretty awesome. Getting on a mount can be very slow, and getting off them is also quite slow as well. And how to get on a mount, you need to go to your skills here, combos and special abilities, and it's in the other tab. You'll see them here. But as you can see, it's quite slow dismounting them, and then you have to kind of wait for them to disappear, and then you can actually attack. There's also a quick dismount with some mounts, skill that you can use once every sort of 2-ish minutes. However, I don't have that on the Ice Bear. The Ice Bear doesn't have that. So yeah, each mount has different abilities and so on. That's pretty much it for mounts. Alright, so every single day you have your daily login rewards and challenges. If you go up here or press the period button or dot, full stop, whatever you want to call it on your keyboard, it'll open up this panel. Essentially, pretty much what these are, most of them are endgame AA, so alternate advancement experience rewards. This is pretty much what all this sort of stuff is. You get some other basic stuff. The green chests are pretty much just silver. They're pretty much useless. These are teleport tokens. They can be kind of handy, sort of. The Royal Feast is pretty decent as well. The blue chests are quite nice, and the purple chest is especially nice as well. So yeah, make sure that you, even if you don't feel like playing in a day, log in, just grab your daily login rewards. They're pretty good. It's one character on your account only. So whichever one you claim the reward on has the reward tied to them. So redeem them on the character that you want to use the reward on, essentially. You also get 20 daily fresh kills, as you can see represented by the little 20 down the bottom here on the experience bar. Essentially, fresh kills are basically like rested bonus. You get extra experience for each kill of any enemy that is your level or slightly higher. You can also complete, if you press Shift C or click this other button up here, the challenge journal. If you complete these daily challenges, you can get, again, these green, blue, or purple caches, depending on how many challenges you've done, basically. So essentially, 20 kills is completing one challenge, which would give you 1 out of 3 in this one here. Getting 5 fatalities would be 2, and then completing 3 quests would essentially give you this contender's cache for the day. It also does work towards the other ones as well. So basically, when you are getting these, you need 15 for exemplar, which means you would essentially need to complete all 5 of these 3 days in a row, and you'll get this. This resets once every week, this resets every day, and this resets every month, essentially as well. So yeah, basically you need to do these, you get some pretty nice rewards. The green chests are mostly just silver, that's pretty much it. Some potions. Blue can have some pretty decent gear in it and a fair bit more silver. I have never got a purple one, but you can get some pretty nice stuff from them, I've heard. So remember to always log in and do those as well. And if you're like grouping up with people using the raid finder and so on and doing some dungeons and you're essentially endgame, you can complete these very, very quickly. People do like daily Kuch raids and stuff to get them done. So yeah. Okay, let's quickly talk about guilds. So you can make your own guild with just one character. It's really useful as a separate bank space. You can also store all the money that you get inside your guild bank or your guild, whatever you want to call it as well. And that's kind of it, really, really simply. Once you're in a guild, you can talk to a regular trader as normal, and you'll have the guild bank. However, you can't take things out if you don't have permission. You can usually deposit things, but you can't usually withdraw things. So yeah, when you're in a guild, you can actually check the guild tab here, this one. And yeah, you can see the total amount of members in the guild, what the renown level is, and the renown rank you have. At the moment, this is the #1 ranked guild in the game, or at least in the Chrome server. You can see the name, and their PvP points and the total PvP kills and so on and so forth. And if they have a Discord and all this kind of thing as well. I can highly recommend this guild. They're a bunch of really lovely people, very, very active as well, very helpful, and their Discord has some amazing guides that are super useful for all starting players and yeah, just people doing pretty much anything in the game. Anything that's kind of a good working guide site or resource, these guys pretty much have a channel or a link to it somewhere in the Discord. So, yeah, I don't really like Discord, but in any sense, this is definitely a great guild to join if you don't really know what guild that you want to go with. And I'll just quickly show you what it looks like when you're not in a guild and how to kind of make your own guild. So, if you're not in a guild and you click on the guild window, you can create one. If you want to create a guild, you don't need any other players or other people to sign a guild charter or anything. This is not World of Warcraft. You can literally create a guild with just one character. There's a recruitment mode, so you can turn your recruitment to always, only when the leader is online, and only when the inviter is online. The government type, there's a whole bunch of different options. The only one you should be interested in is harem, of course. Why would you not want your government to be like a harem? Essentially, it doesn't do anything. It says here what the government type is. It just means that there is different titles for different ranks in the guild. So Cimmerian has this chieftain, war, chief, elder, and so on and so forth. And harem has, of course, trollop, harlot, concubine, courtesan, and madam. So yeah, why wouldn't you want to call your guild members a trollop or a harlot instead of an aspirant or a vassal or whatever? So yeah, that's basically the only difference. And guilds are pretty useful in the sense that you can get more storage by putting things in your guild bank. So it can be quite beneficial even if you literally just have one member and you just need more storage. So yeah. All right, another tip. This is a really cool one. This is the people and group finder. So if you click this button in the top middle here, it'll open this window. You can sort all of these people that you can see who's online by level. If you just want to see endgame people, you could just say 80 to 80 and it will filter out everybody who is currently still leveling to 80 as well. If you want to include everybody, you can put this 1 to 80 or literally whatever. You can also filter by region, race, and class as well. You can even search by name too. And you can also sort by class, which gives you an idea, sort of kind of how popular or available certain classes are. For instance, Demonologist and Necromancer are usually very popular. There was a lot more Necromancers online 5 minutes ago. A couple of them have obviously gone offline. There was only one Tempest of Set, now there's 4. There was 2 Rangers, now there's 1. But yeah, generally you can sort of get an idea about how balanced the kind of classes are. And I can say that in general, apart from, yeah, Bear Shaman, which is for whatever reason not that popular, or there's not that many people playing him. He used to be super popular. Yeah, the rest of the classes are pretty balanced, with Necromancer and Demonologist being like just super common. You can also check public groups, and you can check obviously with the level ranges here. So you can check the member counts and so on. These are the groups that are around and who's in them. You can obviously request to join them and so on, which is pretty sweet. These could be like leveling groups, groups of friends playing, so on and so forth. And it just has the group leader here. So you can message them and ask them what they're doing. You can also see guilds, whether or not they're recruiting, how many members they have, and so on as well. Not sure if this is really super accurate in terms of how many members there are. For instance, like the biggest guild in the game, the current number 1 guild, I can't find them in this list. So I think you can actually hide yourself from here as well for whatever reason. But yeah, anyway, you can see guilds here, and you can also change their level range and so on too. It might also, hang on, it might be because the guild has so many more people in it actually. So if we search here, yeah, okay, well 999 is the maximum, and I know for a fact the number 1 guild has more than 1,000 people in it, so that's probably why it doesn't show up. You can also check PvP. At the moment, there's nothing going on in any of these. You can sign up for them though if you want, and then obviously leave when there's PvP going on. There's massive PvP, which is like more of a sort of scheduled thing, and there are guilds that sort of defend certain things. You can also check them here. So there's Destiny's defending this one, Spartans are defending that one. They're a really big guild. And you can also, for whatever reason, please don't click this button, but you can also not show yourself in the search results. And you can also say you're looking for groups and looking for guilds, and you can also put a message as well, which is pretty cool, and add a message for a guild application. The easiest way to find a guild is just write in global. And I cannot stress this enough. Everyone in this game is super mature. Most of the people that play this game are veterans. You can generally tell by just how many maximum level people there are. It's not too hard to level to 80. I talk about that in other videos and in other areas. But these guys are super nice. I absolutely cannot understate how nice these guys are. If you have a problem or a question, just write it in global. Make sure you're in global here. Just click on this, write in here, and just be like, hey, how do I, where do I, whatever, and these guys will help you out. They'll either tell you publicly or they'll just DM you instantly and help you out. Some guys will even, if you're having problems with the boss or something, they'll offer to come over. They'll just teleport straight over and help you out. So definitely make use of that. This is a great community. There's basically no chat censorship whatsoever. Reporting people pretty much does nothing in this game. I haven't heard of anybody being banned in a very long time. And honestly, I quite like that. And I think most people do as well. Like, this is just a community of guys that are all really, really mature, and it's really, really cool. So, yeah. And by guys, I mean guys and girls. There's both for sure. Yeah, and you can also look at raids and stuff, which I will go into next. So raids and the sort of quote unquote raid finder, or actually it's called group finder, is this magnifying glass over here. So basically you can see which of these dungeons you can do and which you can't do. You can also see which roles are needed, and generally it's always a healer. You can enter if you meet the requirements as a private team. Generally anytime. You can only enter as a private team if you don't meet the level requirement. So for instance, for this one, once you're above level 55, only as a private team can you go in. So you actually can't use the group finder for this. And at least I'm pretty sure not. I haven't used this a whole lot, so it's a little bit sort of sketchy how this kind of works. But generally, what most people usually do is they meet up in front of the location, kind of old school, classic WoW style, and then they go in that way. So, yeah. But you can see here, usually what's happening, so they need one tank, 4 damage, and one healer for this one. But yeah, it's usually that's the common makeup anyway. There are really, really big dungeons that actually have loads of people, I think even up to 15 people. Otherwise, yeah, usually they're 6, as you can see. So for this Chaos one, which isn't even in the list here, you take 6 people, so 1 tank, 4 damage, and 1 healer, which is quite nice. It's nice to have 4 damage rather than just 3 as well. And yeah, that pretty much is that. One thing to note, or a few things to note about raids, they are very long. They can take a really long time, literally 45 minutes at a minimum. They're quite complex. The boss fights can be pretty complex, and dying in them is really likely even with a well-geared group. You can simply make a mistake, get one shot. If your healer's not paying attention, pardon me, or your tank or whatever, it depends. But yeah, and boss fights can be extremely long. As I understand, there is no enrage timer or berserk timer like there is in games like World of Warcraft. So essentially, if you could tank a boss and heal the boss's damage, you could beat it with enough patience without just getting one shot killed eventually after 15 minutes or something. Usually the raid leader decides how the loot is distributed, and generally if the guild is providing the raid, any guild member gets preference over anyone else outside the guild. But yeah, you can also obviously use this sort of group finder to look for groups, but you should generally advertise the raids in the global chat. As I have said, global chat is usually pretty much used for everything. Like, these guys are advertising these. Kuth Daily and Chaos are the 2 most common that I'm pretty much sure everyone else is doing kind of non-stop. EXP means that the raid is for experience and not a purist raid, and yeah, it generally means that even people who aren't maximum level or maximum gear, whatever, can go. It just means kind of anyone that can basically go, just come. You can also see the reset timers once you've done them. I can't remember where exactly. You do also get a pop-up as well, which is nice, which tells you when it's expired. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, there's not really much else to kind of sort of say, but that's sort of how the raids work. All right, now let's talk about the difference between free to play and paying for membership. So, membership is about $12 a month or so. There's quite a lot of benefits that it brings. I would argue, honestly, that the game is painfully sluggish and very tedious to play for free. However, there is a lot of value still in this game if you just literally pay nothing. It's a very fun game still. It can just be a bit of a slog. So, first of all, free users without a membership are limited to 10 gold. Once you have 10 gold, your gold goes down into a second box down here, and you essentially cannot touch it. It's not that you just don't get any money at all. That would be kind of crazy. I think it maybe actually used to be like that, but now you can accumulate excess gold, but you essentially have to buy a membership for at least 1 month to unlock access to that gold, and then you have access to all of it. This is obviously to prevent gold selling and gold farming and all this sort of stuff as well. So yeah, because you can't have access to more than 10 gold at a time, you obviously can't buy anything above 10 gold either. So that's a big problem, seeing as I said in another part of the video, mounts are like 50 to 150 gold if you buy them from vendors, if you really want to do that. But yeah, uh, generally, also membership has other benefits such as massively increased bank space. You just get that by default, like on all your characters, which is really nice. 30% more experience, which is super useful. This is 30% flat on like everything, quests, killing enemies, like everything. It really just makes the game feel like, yep, this is generally how it should be. Like, this is the speed at which you should level. Without that 30%, the game can feel really slow. You get loyalty rewards for every extra month that you keep your membership as well. Yeah, you can check that on the website if you just Google like Age of Conan Unchained membership and then loyalty rewards, or just, the loyalty rewards are right under the membership page anyway. If you buy 12 months of membership in one go, you get a discount, obviously, and you also get all the 12 months of loyalty rewards immediately. So the first 360 days worth of rewards, you get them straight away, which is pretty awesome. You get 50 to 100% more tokens, which are these here. You need these for endgame gear, for pets, for mounts, and so on and so forth. You get 50% of some of the higher tier ones and 100% of pretty much all the lower tier ones as well. You get 7 extra character slots if you want to make more characters, which is really, really awesome. You just get that by default immediately. You can buy them in the item shop as well. Here, sorry. But they are not cheap. Like, they are not cheap. I can't remember where they are. Character slot. Yeah, that's kind of a lot. That's like $15. It's permanent, I mean, but it's a lot. Like, you can have 7 for a month, and that's less just by having membership, or you can buy 1 for 15 to unlock it kind of forever. Yeah, you also get extra AA experience when you level up. So this is your alternate advancement tree. Every time you level up past level 20, you will get an additional expertise point, which is really nice for just starting off. You get 60 extra points. It's pretty decent. Yeah, like, you can just start earning them immediately. Otherwise, you have to get like 1,000,000 or whatever of this experience to get a single point, which is a lot. You can also train your AA points with time, which is huge. Basically, when you're not training something like I am here, you can click this, click something, and it will start training. If you mouse over it, you can also see how long it takes. So 36 hours if you use time, or 2 mastery points. So it's essentially 16 hours of waiting per mastery point. Yeah, you get a much larger quest capacity. So if you look at your quest book, it's 45 quests you can store, which really helps for just like grabbing all the quests in a settlement and then just going out and doing them, and of course coming back and turning them all in in one go for a huge XP boost. So yeah, the other thing is that you must buy something from the cash shop, like even the absolute cheapest thing ever, like this combat rating boost. The minimum amount of points you can buy for $5 is 600 anyway, so you have to spend at least $5, like to be able to use the global chat. So to be able to speak globally to everybody in the entire server, which is new player help or global English, you must buy something, or you must have bought membership at least once. Otherwise, you can't speak. And this is obviously to prevent people from just creating free account, logging in, and just spamming up global chat. So yeah, and that's it. That's the membership benefits. No, there's a lot more benefits being a member than there ever has been. Like in the past, it hasn't been very cost effective. But generally, the price has never really increased. Only the benefits have increased, which is pretty cool. I mean, I think even back in 2008, it was like $12 a month. But then again, with inflation, what it is, that $12 was actually a lot more back then. So yeah, hope you found this bit useful too.